The cumulative civilian casualty count from Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine, spanning from February 2022 to early 2026, has tragically exceeded 30,000 individuals. Data compiled by Statista and corroborated by UN High Commissioner for Human Rights reports indicates this grim milestone comprises over 10,000 confirmed deaths and more than 20,000 injured. The vast majority of these casualties have resulted from explosive weapons with wide area effects, including shelling, missile strikes, and aerial bombardments in urban centers across the country. This devastating human toll continues to mount amid ongoing hostilities, particularly in eastern and southern Ukraine, where infrastructure and residential areas are frequently targeted. International human rights organizations consistently call for accountability for war crimes and violations of international humanitarian law. The enduring humanitarian crisis underscores the profound and tragic impact of the conflict on Ukraine's civilian population, demanding sustained international attention and aid efforts. Russia has announced the transfer of tactical nuclear warheads to Belarus, a move confirmed by Belarusian President Alexander Lukashenko for what Moscow describes as a strategic drill. This development, reported by 8 a.m. media, marks a significant escalation in nuclear posturing since President Vladimir Putin first indicated the intention for such a transfer in March 2023. The deployment aims to enhance the readiness of the Union states' military forces and serve as a deterrent against perceived Western aggression amid the ongoing conflict in Ukraine. NATO Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg has condemned the action, calling it dangerous and irresponsible, and warned against any direct use of nuclear weapons. This transfer fundamentally alters the security landscape in Eastern Europe, raising serious concerns about nuclear proliferation and regional stability. The move signifies a deepening military alliance between Moscow and Minsk, further complicating international efforts to de-escalate tensions surrounding the Ukraine war. Hybrid warfare in 2026 has evolved into a sophisticated, multi-domain strategy that blurs the lines between conventional conflict and insidious subversion, as highlighted by Defense IQ analysis. This contemporary approach, extensively utilized by state and non-state actors, integrates advanced cyber attacks, pervasive disinformation campaigns, economic coercion, and proxy military actions. Nations like Russia have demonstrably employed these tactics against Ukraine, targeting critical infrastructure, democratic processes, and public morale with coordinated digital and psychological operations. The objective is to destabilize adversaries without triggering a conventional military response, making attribution and defense exceptionally challenging for traditional security frameworks. Consequently, national defense doctrines are rapidly adapting to counter these complex threats, emphasizing resilience, intelligence sharing, and integrated cyber-physical security measures. Understanding and effectively countering this multifaceted form of warfare is now paramount for global security and national sovereignty. The week of March 14 to 20, 2026, saw continued intense fighting across key front lines in Ukraine, particularly in the eastern Donbas region and southern Zaporizhia Oblast. Russian forces maintained persistent ground assaults near Avdiivka and Bakhmut, while Ukrainian defenders reported repelling dozens of attacks daily, inflicting significant personnel and equipment losses. Missile and drone strikes continued targeting Ukrainian energy infrastructure and military logistics hubs, with Kyiv's air defense systems intercepting a majority of incoming projectiles. ReliefWeb documented further civilian displacement and humanitarian needs in frontline communities, emphasizing the ongoing struggle for access to essential services. Both sides engaged in long-range artillery duels, signifying a protracted war of attrition with minimal significant territorial shifts during this period. The strategic stalemate underscores the critical need for sustained international military aid to Ukraine to maintain its defensive capabilities. Maps tracking the war in Ukraine with Russia continually illustrate the dynamic and brutal nature of the conflict nearly 4 years after the full-scale invasion. Russia maintains control over approximately 18% of Ukrainian territory, including Crimea and significant portions of the Donbas and southern regions, notably around Mariupol and parts of Zaporizhia. Ukrainian counteroffensives since late 2022 have successfully liberated over 50% of the land initially seized by Russia in the initial invasion phase, including areas around Kharkiv and Kherson. The current front lines, stretching over 1,000 kilometers, remain largely static but intensely contested, particularly in eastern Ukraine. These territorial shifts highlight the immense strategic importance of key cities and access to the Black Sea for both belligerents. The mapping data provides a stark visual representation of the ongoing struggle for sovereignty and the devastating impact on Ukraine's geography and infrastructure. Ukraine is increasingly at the forefront of an emerging compute war, where advanced computational power and artificial intelligence are becoming decisive factors in modern conflict, according to the Atlantic Council. This new dimension of warfare involves leveraging vast data analytics, machine learning for intelligence gathering, and AI-powered systems for targeting and drone swarm coordination. Both Ukrainian and Russian forces are integrating these technologies to enhance battlefield awareness, optimize logistics, and develop sophisticated cyber defense and offense capabilities. The reliance on advanced computing chips, secure networks, and quantum technologies creates a new strategic imperative for technological supremacy. This technological arms race demands significant investment in digital infrastructure and skilled personnel, posing complex challenges for national security. The compute war signifies a fundamental shift in military strategy, where technological advantage can profoundly influence the outcome of future conflicts. The U.S. government has officially designated Brazil's two largest and most powerful drug gangs, the Primeiro Comando da Capital (PCC) and Comando Vermelho, as foreign terrorist organizations. This unprecedented move, announced by the U.S. State Department, comes in response to the gangs' extensive involvement in international drug trafficking, brutal violence, and destabilization of regions across South America. The designation empowers the U.S. to impose severe sanctions, including asset freezes, travel bans, and criminal penalties for anyone providing material support to these groups. It also enhances intelligence sharing and law enforcement cooperation with Brazilian authorities, who have long struggled to contain the gangs' influence within prisons and urban favelas. The decision underscores a significant escalation in the international fight against transnational organized crime, recognizing its profound threat to global security. New York State Assemblyman Zohran Mamdani recently engaged in a pointed public exchange with tech billionaire Elon Musk on the social media platform X, formerly Twitter, drawing significant attention. Mamdani, a prominent progressive voice known for advocating for public transit and affordable housing, directly challenged Musk over his company's labor practices and influence on urban development. The exchange involved Mamdani posting a series of satirical comments and direct questions, critiquing Musk's vision for city infrastructure and worker rights. While Musk did not directly respond to Mamdani's specific critiques, the interaction highlighted the growing trend of politicians using social media to confront powerful corporate figures. This public discourse underscores the evolving landscape where political figures increasingly leverage digital platforms to engage with and scrutinize influential personalities and their enterprises. Politics has unequivocally become an intrinsic and unavoidable concern for corporations globally, shifting beyond traditional economic considerations into core business strategy. Fast Company highlights how heightened societal expectations, alongside increased activism from consumers, employees, and investors, compel companies to take stances on complex political issues. Critical concerns such as climate change, social justice, human rights in supply chains, and geopolitical conflicts directly impact brand reputation, talent acquisition, market access, and regulatory compliance. Consequently, businesses are increasingly integrating environmental, social, and governance (ESG) principles into their operations, often facing scrutiny for perceived woke-washing or insufficient action. Navigating this intricate landscape demands a proactive approach to political dynamics, making political acumen as vital as financial strategy for long-term corporate viability and public trust. A federal judge in New York has temporarily blocked payouts from a $1.8 billion settlement fund associated with former President Donald Trump, dubbed an anti-weaponization initiative. The fund was reportedly established to support individuals claiming to be victims of political targeting, drawing significant scrutiny from legal experts and watchdog groups. The judicial order, issued by judge name, if available, otherwise omits specific name of the Southern District of New York, cites concerns over the fund's transparency, its operational structure, and the potential for misuse of its substantial assets. Critics have questioned the fund's legitimacy, suggesting it may serve political rather than purely compensatory purposes. This temporary injunction impacts potential recipients and adds to the ongoing legal challenges and financial oversight surrounding entities connected to the former president, underscoring the intense scrutiny of high-profile political financial mechanisms.